Alright, this was episode 5 of the VR150 install. Today we're going to be working on modifying the fan shroud and the fan stator. These are just the only two parts in this video. As you can tell, there's just a couple pages of it, but it involves modifying the actual stator and allowing room for the main bracket, the pulley, and the belt to go through. So you're going to have 3 different modifications that are made to this particular piece. The first one, I don't know if you can see that or not, is we're going to clearance. Let's see if I can get where the camera can see it. We're going to clearance this here for the VMAC crank pulley. It's actually going to mount in here. So to do that, we've got to cut out some of this section, and then back, and we got to taper it off back here so the pulley latches in. Now the pulley doesn't fit all the way down in there, but the book does lay out dimensions and drawings. I'll be honest, they're a little hard to understand sometimes. Easiest thing I've found to do is take one of these, set it for the dimensions. That'll give you this number, or this depth. Okay, this is the depth. This is where as far in as it'll go. And then you got to look at it again, and to get your actual width for the taper, there's a secondary measurement that says, measure a 1/2 inch in from here and 3/4 in from this side. Because this doesn't sit exactly flush. When you're done with that, you will be removing, I don't know if you can see it or not, you'll be removing this section completely, because this is where the main bracket and then the bracket and the and the auxiliary bracket's going to mount. So you'll be removing this piece. I saved this to last because once you do it, it gets kind of flimsy. And on this side, you're going to be taking the fins off essentially. But what you do is you just cut it down to where it's even with the back. Cut it down through here in the top. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a lot of this on camera because it's just mainly cutting plastic. I've used a die grinder to do it. This piece, always use a die grinder on. For these, I found that saw works pretty good, or bands, a hacksaw, anything you got that you can cut a straight, smooth line on the plastic. Again, just like the battery boxes, we're going to come in and smooth it up, polish it up, make it look good. It's not going to look good when it's done to start, but once it's on the truck, it'll all make sense, and it'll look like it's supposed to. So I'll cut that piece out first, and then I actually go back and I'll grind this to create the 3/4 taper on it. That's what I found works best for me. Alright, here's the first section cut out, modified. You can see how I had to put the taper on each side of it here. Smooth it down just like we did the battery box, clean it up. You can also repaint it if you need to. They make some good paints and stuff for these things. The pulley, crank pulley, the VMAC crank pulley is going to sit in here, which the factory crank pulley sits somewhere in this area. So that's the reason we have to notch this. Next, we're going to move on to this side. And again, this is a step ahead. Most time you're supposed to cut this side out first, but I'm going to go ahead and do this side because I find it to be a little bit easier, and it holds it more stable, me trying to hold it. So the easiest way I found to do this one is start back here. So we know we got to go from this vein to this vein, and start back here and just go back and forth with a die grinder, and then you just pop it off. So we're going from here to here. Take the die grinder. Get a good mark in it. Once you get a hole started, you can take a standard saw blade, run across there, and then you'll cut the blades on top. Alright, here's cutout 2. Again, you don't have to take them all off. The only thing you're doing, this is the clearance for the drain back hose we put in, because the Degas bottle's in a different spot now. So just clean it. I got to clean this up, polish it up a little bit, and then the next section we're going to cut out from here to here. And we're actually just going to remove that whole section there. And then this piece will officially be modified. So let's see, I could probably go ahead and cut this. Always check your manual, make sure you're correct. You don't want to cut off more than you have to. I gotta change my blade out. Alright, that's the section that gets removed. I gotta clean the ends up, but that's pretty similar to how it should look when it's completed. And again, this is the driver's side, so this will be where the bracket and the belt and everything's come through. This is your pulley, and this is for the one clearance for the one hose. I know it doesn't look like much now. Once it's cleaned up and in there, you'll see how it's supposed to look. All right, after modification of the fan stator, we're going to start on this piece. It's real simple. I've actually already cut this out. It's 8 inches long and a 1/2 inch strip you cut out of here. Okay, this is where the power steering reservoir mounted. So you're actually going to cut this down flush, and then you're going to cut a little notch out here. And what this is when you put the other bracket on, we'll see the bracket here shortly, is it allows the power steering reservoir to sit back inside there's a little bit, and this little notch is so you can still take the lid and everything off of it. So I'll get this cut out and get this notched out, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Alright, this is the final piece to modifying this shroud. Take your power steering bracket out of the VMAC kit, and you actually, let me turn it in here the right way. You're actually going to bolt it to this bottom hole. Let me lay it down. Take the bolts that are supplied with the VMAC kit, and they'll actually be labeled power steering bracket. I do the start one of them here. Idea where it goes. Fill the hole. Back up there, bolt in, tighten it up. This is a 10mm. Alright. And that'll conclude this episode here of modifying the stator and the fan shroud. Next episode, we're going to be actually putting the main bracket on the engine, installing the compressor, the belts, the pulleys, things like that. So the next one should be quite a long video. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.